We're talking Philly sports.
The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
And New York sports.
Ball game over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
And the unique history and relationship between the two cities. With Mike Carr.
You're so money and you don't even know it.
And Adam Turkel.
I agree. Nobody's madder about than I am. They're going to say that, and I'm going to look at them and say, "Hi, you're right."
This is the Battle for I-95 podcast, starting now.
All right, welcome to the Battle for I-95 podcast. This is episode 24 already, Mike. 24. And as always, this is brought to you by Easy Moving. Moving is difficult. It's hard. It sucks.
It's terrible.
It's terrible. It's an atrocity to your life. It's a cross to bear. Try to do it the easy way, you know. Servicing Fairfield, Connecticut, removal in New York. I am Adam Turkel, and my partner is Mr. Mike Carr. Before I even ask you how you're doing, I would just want to tell everybody continued thoughts and prayers for Frankie Ravioli. He's not doing so great. We're hoping he can fight his way through it. He's got a lot on his plate right now to try to get through. So anybody that watches this that knows Frank or doesn't know Frank, keep him in your prayers. He needs them.
Seriously.
And other than the Frank situation, how are you doing, Mike? How you holding up over there, brother?
Not so great news. The kids finally lost. 32-0.
Oh, what was your record going into that game?
3-4.
Wow. 32-0 shellacking. Were they just like the best team in the league?
Yeah, we went in. We are getting demoted to a B-class playoff. So we do have another game. We will be playing this week. And, hopefully that all goes well. And we make it to a beef championship. But, that'll be good for the kids.
Hey, listen, every experience when you're a young athlete is a learning experience, and that includes losing.
Yeah.
I've always highly subscribed to the saying that we either win or we learn, as long as losing comes with learning from your mistakes, how to correct them, things like that, losing can be productive as well.
Absolutely.
Winning always feels better.
It's great. And they won 3 in a row, so it was a killer to them, especially being able to score.
And nobody wants to, live with this. Nobody wants to do it. Where is it? Yeah, nobody wants this.
No! We suck again!
Oh, no, we suck again.
Yeah, nobody wants that. So, speaking of suck again, Mike.
Yeah.
We got some sucking to talk about right now.
Everybody,
Yeah.
Philadelphia, 76ers.
We suck right now. Everybody.
Philadelphia,
Philadelphia.
76ers.
Let's open the show in a way we usually don't. Talk
Okay.
about a Philadelphia team, because I got to tell you, even I'm surprised. Like, I look at the record.
What the fuck?
What is going on with your 76ers? They look fucking terrible.
It's the beginning of the season. Paul George just played his first, 2 games?
Oh, miracle.
Yeah.
Paul George finally played.
Yeah, he's playing.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to make an announcement at this time. Finally playing a game for the Philadelphia 76ers, Paul George.
It's just a whole shit show over there. And now Embiid suspended 3 games for pushing a news
Reporter.
reporter.
A beat reporter. I saw that, and I'm going to quickly comment on that. Okay. The beat reporter was out of line.
Completely. Okay, so we agree.
Way out of fucking line.
He's completely out of line.
Me personally, but I'm a dick. I'm not a professional athlete.
Right.
But me personally, I would have punched him in the face. That's me. Right?
And that's kind of, that's Embiid took the mature way out and warned him.
Well, but Embiid has to know. Embiid has to know. He's a $40 million a year professional athlete who is already missing games due to injury issues that he contends he's still not ready because he played in the Olympics, which now tells me, because he looked compromised in the Knicks playoff series, he shouldn't have played in the Olympics if he's not ready yet. Right?
And he didn't look good in the Olympics either. So
and he didn't look great in the Olympics either, right? So Embiid has to see the bigger picture here. And the bigger picture is I can't shove this guy, even though I'm pissed off and he's way out of line. I can tell him to go fuck himself. I can tell him to kiss my ass. I can call security, have him pulled away from this. A lot of other things I can do, but I can't lay my hands on him because Joel Embiid is a 7'1" dinosaur compared to this guy. He can't lay his hands on him.
True.
You know, so Embiid, while this reporter is a douche face, and I will say that outright, sir, are you listening to me?
His name's Marcus Hayes.
Marcus Hayes, are you listening to me from New York? I'm the Turk. You, my friend, are a jerk off. Jerk off. Because you don't talk about the things that he brought up to Embiid. Right. That is not a bear.
Brought up his dead brother.
No.
And
absolutely not.
Don't talk about my kid. Don't talk about dead relatives.
Right. Don't. That's way out of bounds.
Especially even
way
the kid.
Beyond his job. He's there to talk about basketball.
Right. Even the kid. You know, as a dad, you know,
keep my son out your mouth.
Yeah.
You don't have nothing to say about my son.
Right.
Right.
It's automatic hands. So
right.
I give him.
I give him credit for not knocking
his face to the back of his head.
But in his current position, he should have fought with his mouth and not with his hands at all. He should, because everybody would be on Embiid's side if he didn't shove the guy. The guy would probably be permanently banned from the locker room, right? Everything would be on Joel's side if he had just. And again, I'm understanding why he did it, Mike. I'm not getting on him for doing it because I would have reacted worse. I'm the first to admit it, you know. But I'm also not making almost $50 million a year and haven't played a game yet this year. You know what I'm saying? So you got to kind of have temperature of the room, but that just kind of adds to, you know, what's been going on with your Sixers, and that's really that it's Tyrese Maxey against the world right now.
Yeah, and credit to him. He's showing that he can lead a team. I mean, it's not on the win column, but he's putting up the points. He's dishing the ball.
He'll be better for it in the long run, Mike. He'll be a better player for it.
Yeah, and I think he's flourishing in it. He's realizing this is his time to prove that he can be a guy that a team can build around. Character as well as skill.
Mike, you know what I said in the offseason? And I think more than ever now, the Sixers should do it.
Trade Joel Embiid.
It's time to trade Joel Embiid. While he still has value, Mike, because the way his physicality's going, the way he's diminished physically with his injuries over the years, right? And you can see it. He's not as physical as he was. He really can't be, right? And when he is physical, he gets hurt. This is Tyrese's team now.
Right.
Okay? This is Maxey's team, whether Joel likes it or not.
Mm-hmm.
It's not by anybody saying it. It's by what's been happening. He's there every game. He's balling every game, right? Whether Joel plays or not, Maxey's on the floor and leading the team. This is Tyrese Maxey's team. I would emphasize that if I was the Sixers, especially because I have Paul George, because I have another star to play with him. I would unload Embiid now. I'd get as many first-round picks as I can for him. Maybe get back a mid-range center to go along with Drummond and back Drummond up in the interim. I would move on from Joel at this point. And I'm not saying that as a Knicks fan that wants Philly to be non-competitive, because I think addition by subtraction might, lifting the cloud might make the Sixers better.
It might. And listen, Maxey right now is averaging 39.7 minutes a game.
He's
in
Jalen
from
Brunson. He's
in
Jalen
from
Brunson
tip-off.
for you right now.
He's in from tip-off to the last whistle.
Yeah.
So, again, it's good to see him flourish. It's good to see him take this head on. And until they get rid of Embiid, whenever that is, it'll flip. It will flip eventually. They're going to start putting wins together.
Oh, I agree. I don't listen. They're 1-6. I don't think like Philadelphia's missing the playoffs, right?
No.
Because Embiid is going to play at some point. George started playing now, so now he has to go through a little bit what the Knicks are going through, which is acclimation, kind of figuring out his role with this team, his role with Tyrese Maxey. How, when does he take the shot? When does he defer? And when we get to the Knicks, I'll talk about that with the Knicks. The Knicks are going through that a little bit right now. But here's the real question. You have Joel Embiid, who's in his 30s, who physically, his body looks like he's in his 40s right now, right? The way he moves. Do you think you can win a championship with Joel Embiid?
I think that it's possible, but he has to make it into the summer. So
that's asking a lot.
It is asking a lot. So, I mean, he could still put up the numbers even with two bad legs, a broken orbital bone, broken fingers. Like he said it the other day, he does give a lot for the city and the team. But I feel like that they're just coddling it. Get him through the first couple of months. If he starts 10 games,
congratulations, you have basketball's version of Giancarlo Stanton.
Yeah. If he gets towards the All-Star break and he's got 20 games in, hey, whatever. If he's still putting up 25 a game,
yeah, but can you afford to be game sevens on the road?
You can't be giving the guy $40 million to sit on the bench.
Not only that, but can you afford to, because if it goes like that, the Sixers would be lucky to get a top 5 seed. Probably going to be somewhere lower than that, which means no game sevens at home, right? Can you afford to go to New York for a game 7 or to Boston for a game 7 or, Cleveland, who looks all of a sudden they got a coach and all of a sudden they look like a basketball team. It's amazing. Can you afford to give up home court advantage to these teams?
$40 million to one guy is not worth home field advantage, home court advantage. It's not. But I don't run the team. A guy who is in first place in the NFC East is the owner of this team. And he knows more than I do, I guess. I don't mean to cop out, but
yeah, it's a cop out, you pussy.
I can't really just speak on anything.
You're on a podcast to make opinions, Mike, not to kiss ass.
My opinion is that he needs to play, but he's not going to play. Right. So with the,
I really think it's time to trade him, Mike. I really do.
Listen, I would if I
because you can get something for him now. In another year, you might not be able to get shit for him.
I would need another. That's the other thing. Say you go star for star.
No, that's not what you want.
You're talking about a full rebuild.
I'm talking about getting 4 or 5 first-round picks from a bad team.
Well,
not trading him to a good team, trading him to a team that's middling that thinks Embiid can make the difference, right? So maybe you trade him to a team like a New Orleans or a Memphis, someone that's like, a 6th seed in the West that thinks, Embiid might get us into a top 2, top 3, and getting that pick and getting those picks from them and, dealing with being okay this year, because you still have Drummond. Drummond's not a bum.
No,
right?
No.
And if you get a viable backup for Drummond, you can roll with Maxey, Drummond, and Paul George. If Paul George stays relatively healthy, that should be good enough still to get you a top 6 spot in the East, I would think, right? And then over the next 2 years or whatever, turn those draft picks into the team you're building around Maxey. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and I don't think I think the NBA prevents 2 first-round picks in a row.
No. What they prevent is consecutive years.
Consecutive years. Okay.
Right. So now, think about
you get a third team involved.
Right. Not only do you get a third team involved, but a lot of these teams have picks from other teams from other trades. Right. So Brooklyn has a bunch of picks that the Knicks trade to them, but they weren't all the Knicks picks. 3 of them were every other year, and then one was a Dallas pick, one was a pick from another trade. So Detroit, it was a Detroit pick. So you use these picks strategically, and a team like Memphis has picks like that hanging around from trades.
Right.
I think that it's a means. Maxey is young.
Yes.
Embiid is older physically than he actually is.
Yes.
And he's a big man. And big men, when they get into their 30s, see Akeem Olajuwon, one of the greatest ever. Pick a big man, Patrick Ewing. When they get older, their legs betray them. Sometimes they betray him young. Kristaps Porzingis has always had legs problems, So I think that, you got Maxey, who's young and starting to come into his prime now. Build around him.
Yeah, and I agree.
Now.
I do completely agree with that, and I think they need to do that. It's just whether they pull the trigger on it this year.
Well, we'll see, man. I mean, it's not a great start for them. Milwaukee looks like a shit show as well. Another 1-6 team that people thought would be better. I think we're counting weeks before Doc Rivers gets ousted over there. Ever since he's come into Milwaukee, it's been an absolute nightmare. They've done nothing but there's talks of trading Antetokounmpo now. I mean, it's a train wreck over there. So, now over to my side of things, the Knicks are 3-4 after a loss to Atlanta last night, which is an annoying loss because they're better in Atlanta. And
right.
It's come off another annoying loss to Houston, who they're better than. But it's early in the season. Like I just said with you with Paul George, watching the Knicks, I could see they're a little disjointed. Brunson and Towns are still figuring out who takes the shot when, their defense rotations aren't as solid as they were last year. Again, probably because people are figuring out their roles. Their bench is incomplete. Cameron Payne, who we took away from you guys, and what's his name, Precious Achua, are both out, so that hurts their depth right now. Their depth is suspect right now because of that. And the Knicks are 3-4, but unlike you in Philly, I'd be worried in Philly because of Embiid's situation. I'm not worried because mine is just a matter of guys getting to
gel together.
Yeah, and that takes time, Mike. It doesn't happen instantly.
And it doesn't always happen either.
I think it will. And the reason I think it will is Towns has shown me something that I didn't know he was. Okay. His reputation has always been more of a finesse, softer player because he's a shooter, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let me tell you something. What I see from him in the first 7 games, homeboy's a dog. And he's on a team that he rooted for as a kid, so he's going to be even more of a dog because he grew up rooting for the 90s Knicks. And if he grew up rooting for the 90s Knicks, he knows he cannot be soft. He knows he has to dog up. So I'm liking what I'm seeing from him. I think Brunson isn't shooting great right now. And like last night at the end of the game, Brunson had the ball, went in the lane, they collapsed. He kicked it out to Towns, who took a bad shot because he kind of rushed it. I think it's because, Towns feels the pressure of having to make big shots when in reality what Towns should have done was get it back to JB, reset, and do something else because the two of them in the pick and roll are a fucking nightmare to guard. And I could see that already. It's going to be a real problem for teams defending Towns and Brunson running pick and roll together just because of Towns' range and ability to shoot. So, little things like that have to work out. OG Anunoby, a little late on some rotations now. Bridges hasn't been good. And they traded 5 draft picks for Mikal Bridges, right?
Yeah.
But I know why Bridges doesn't look good. He just came into a situation where he was the number 1 guy.
He was the guy.
Now here, he's number 3.
He's an option.
He's number 3. So he's kind of figuring out, when can he be aggressive? When can he do this? When can he do that? McCall just has to chill and let his game come to him, because JB will feed him shots when he's hot. I think the way the Knicks have to figure out how to do this is they have to learn how to defer to the hot guy when the hot guy is hot, whichever one of the three it is. You know, that's always been the key with a big three type of setup. And let's keep it real. That's what the Knicks are now. They're a big three setup. Brunson, Bridges, and Towns. That's their big three set. And Anunoby's an ancillary good fourth option. You know, he can hit threes. He's good defensively, but they're really a big three now. And what they have to figure out is, you know, and remember how the problems Miami had when LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh first got together. They couldn't figure out who was the lead guy, you know? Yeah. And I think that's kind of what's going on here with the Knicks right now. They're figuring out, and over the course of time, what made that work is LeBron actually was the one that deferred. He started deferring to Dwayne Wade. Bosh accepted that he was going to be an opportunistic player instead of a hands on the ball all the time player. And he made the most of it. So just like, you know, I said about the Heat, it's going to take the Knicks a little time. That's all there is to it. It's not going to be instant gratification. They're going to lose some games. I feel they should win. What I want to see as a Knicks fan and someone who watches every game is the progression. I want to see Bridges figure it out, you know. I want to see the extra effort on defense from everybody while you're figuring it out, things like that. So I think that the Knicks will get there. I don't think that there's any trouble in Knickland right now. You know, they were on FAN today. You know, Tierney was already being worried about, you know, oh, I don't like the chemistry. It's not like last year. You know, they don't have DiVincenzo anymore. You know what? DiVincenzo, Hartenstein, and Randall, they're gone. So dwelling on it ain't going to change it. The only thing that's going to change it is I think this team has better talent, and they just have to come together, Mike.
As any team does.
Yeah.
As any team does.
Right.
You have to gel together. Everybody's got to play their part. Can't do the other guy's job. All the, you know, the lingos that go along with team.
Right. Well, I think that kind of covers the NBA for us with our local teams.
Right.
Just to touch on hockey quickly, the Rangers might win the Stanley Cup. They're that good. They do have an Igor Shesterkin contract problem that they are going to have to pay this guy. I mean, all right. So, in my opinion, I would think that you'll probably agree, at least in the neighborhood. Let's say that you don't agree with me because I'm a Ranger fan, that he's the best goalie in hockey. He's top 3 for sure. No two ways about it. Agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, he was standing on his head in the playoffs.
Right. And he's done it time and time again. So I think Igor deserves the big contract. But the question for the Rangers is, how much do you pay Igor without compromising the rest of the team for it in a salary cap sport? You know?
And I think we can both agree. I don't know too much about hockey contracts where, like, what's the average goalie supposed to make? What's the great goalie supposed to make?
I'm not that deep in it too, but I know this. There's a salary cap.
Yes, obviously it's salary cap, and you would think a guy like that would get paid in the top 3 because he's one of the better goalies.
Right.
But, as we've seen before with New York, they don't like to spend money.
The current cap, it's not they don't like to spend money. The current cap is $88 million.
Okay.
That's the cap currently. All right. As part of CBA, the cap is at 81.5, was at 81.5 until this year. This year it went up to 88. So if you look at salaries, let me see. Top goalie salary. I'm going to check this for you quick, Mike. Goalie salary, NHL, would be Canadians Carey Price at $10.5 million a year. Now, that's literally accounting for 1/8 of your team.
I was going to say that's 1/8 of the whole salary cap right there.
Right.
One guy.
Right. And I believe Shesterkin wants something like 13 or 14 a year. I believe that's the current conversation.
Yeah, well,
Salary cap sport. What do you do? I mean, all right. So since he's the next guy up in contract, do you have to make him the highest paid? Probably.
yeah,
Right?
and it'll go up. It might go up to like 90 or 92
It might, but
next year.
I would right now say, okay, 10-5, you want the highest salary in the league, you're getting 11, maybe 11-5. Not 13, Holmes. You're not getting 13. We're not going to do that.
Yeah, we'll set the bar with you at 11.
Hey, listen, set the bar with him, make him the highest paid, but
11-5.
And even that's going to be prohibitive because the Rangers have a lot of good young players that are going to have to get paid. Everyone forgets because the Rangers were in the conference finals that this is a very, very, very young team. Very young. A lot of these guys are guys they drafted, guys they traded for while they were still young players. So the Rangers have at least 4 guys they're going to have to pay over the next 2-3 years. And if they're all getting big contracts, what are you going to have, a goalie and 4 players and nobody else? Not what you want.
Not what you want, no, because then you get a Carter Hart situation.
Right.
Where the guy's facing 30, 40 shots a game.
Right. Because
And
you didn't pay any good
goal,
defensemen.
his goal average goes up, and now he's not worth $8 million, $7 million, $6 million.
But anyway, the Rangers should get at least back where they were last year. Florida still looks like the Rangers' big loss was to Florida already. Florida still looks like that team, Will the Rangers be tough enough to take them out? It's funny, Mike, on the way to a championship, right? And it happened with the Rangers when they won in 94. It happened with the Giants when they won the Super Bowl twice, both times. There's always a bully team you have to overcome. Always, right?
Yep.
Your nemesis, the team that's knocked you out before. For the 94 Rangers, it was the New Jersey Devils, which took them double overtime in 7 games, right?
Was that a young Brodeur that was with that?
That was that was young Brodeur. And that was the game of Mateau scored the goal, Mateau. Stephon Mateau with the overtime winning goal to knock the Devils out. For the New York Giants, they had to beat the undefeated Patriots to get it done. The year before that, the time before that, when they won the Super Bowl, they had to get by the Green Bay Packers in the snow with Brett Favre, who were considered to be unbeatable at home. If I look back even further in my time clock, to the Yankees, when they first went on their run, they had to get by Baltimore, who'd been winning the division every year, and had to play them in the playoffs. And it took Jeffrey Mayer to beat Baltimore that year, So there's always something to overcome on your way. For the New York Rangers, it's going to be the Florida Panthers if they're going to win it. They're going to have to figure it out.
Yeah, they're just good.
They're just good all the way around.
They're good.
And they're built for the playoffs. That's the thing about Florida. The Rangers might finish with a better record than Florida. Florida is built for the playoffs. They are built for that neutral zone trapping defense where they don't let you breathe. And if you're a fast skating team like the Rangers, they don't let you get in rhythm. They cut you off in the neutral zone. And you have to play dump and shoot. You have to. There's no other way to get the puck in. So, the Rangers will have their cross to bear. What about the Flyers? What's going on in Philadelphia?
Listen, they're still developing. They're a very young team. Very young team. And that Mitrov kid is... Oh, no! We suck again! They don't suck. They're 4-6-1. They are at the bottom of the division. I'm sorry, they're 4-8-1. 4-8-1. That's 2 more losses. They're at the bottom of the division, but it looks like the Flyers are going to have one of these possible perennial all-stars, man. I mean, Mitrov has played in 13 games, and has 10 points. He's getting 1.3 goals per game. So, I mean, they're going to have to make a move I think if they make a move trade deadline, they could be in the talks of being one of those better teams. I'm not saying a cup contender, but they could get, second and maybe third round in the playoffs
Well,
conference.
you're also in a brutal division, Mike. I mean,
Yeah.
the Rangers are currently 8-2-1, yet they're in 4th place.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
so you got the Hurricanes at 9-2, the Capitals 9-3. Obviously, in the NHL, it's based on points. The Devils 8-5-2, and then the Rangers at 8-2-1, with a couple of games in hand that they have to still play. But your team is going through this rebuild, and you're in this massive metropolitan division that, if I look at right now, is going to have 4 playoff teams. Is going to, that's a tough nut to crack to get through. So, I don't know if the Capitals are as good as their record indicates right now.
Not right now.
Right now they're probably playing a little over their head. The Hurricanes are good. The Devils are good. The Rangers
Love
are
that the
good.
goddamn Penguins are.
And the Penguins are having a
drunken.
good year, and they come out of nowhere. Crosby starts scoring, all of a sudden, they're in the talk.
Yeah.
So
Right.
hockey underway, basketball underway. We're just scratching the surface with those sports. And now it's time for us to talk about the sport that is in hand. It's football time, Mike.
It's football. It's always football time.
It's football time,
It's the
Mike.
greatest time of year. You got
No,
Turkey Bowl
It's
coming
not.
up. Yeah, it is.
No.
You got Turkey Bowls coming up.
No.
The leaves are falling. The air
The
is
Jets
cool.
make me cry. No. So fun. Well, all right.
Jets.
So let's talk last week. The
Let's
Jets.
talk it.
We'll start with the Jets since we started with Philadelphia with the other bullshit, right? The Jets, of course, after going and losing to pathetic-ass New England and making me want to throw everything through the wall and cursing and screaming, fuck Rodgers, get everybody out of here. You all suck. You're terrible. Then what do? They turn around on a Thursday night, short rest against the 6-2 Texans team, and they beat the shit out of them in the second half. I mean, in the first half, they had 69 yards total offense. They looked atrocious like the last few games. I'm like, oh no, here we go again. I'm saying there's no way.
Playoffs? Don't talk about
No way.
playoffs.
No,
You
we're
kidding me?
No.
Playoffs?
That's right. There's no way. And then in the second half, what happens?
Get that old ass of yours in.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers gets that old ass out there and hits Garrett Wilson for a couple of touchdowns, and all of a sudden Devontae Adams becomes prevalent in the game plan, and the Jets just smoke them in the second half.
Yeah.
The Jets are now 3-6, hanging on by a thread. I'm all back in, baby.
I knew it. I
I'm in.
said it last week.
I'm in.
I said it last week. I
Mike,
said,
they beat
you're
a good
going to
team.
fucking see these guys win, and you're going to come back and, Aaron's so good.
No,
You got his old ass
listen,
in
listen.
there.
Listen. Let me explain myself. Okay, so they beat a good team at home. Okay,
Okay.
after losing to a dreadful team on the road. Okay, they're still having their ups and downs. I have to think offensively it's going to get better the more practices Devontae Adams is at. It started to show itself a little bit last week. I happen to think the Cardinals, which they're going to Arizona to play at 425 this week in Arizona, are a little bit overrated because the 49ers stink right now, right? So Arizona's in first place, but are they really a first place team? Are they really that good of a team? I don't think so.
No,
I'm going to be
I
honest
don't
with you.
think so either.
Right, I don't think so. So they got some nice parts. They can score some points, but their defense is nothing to write home about. And I think the Jets are going to be able to put a lot of points on the board against them. So the Jets season is a week-to-week proposition now. All right, so let's look at the NFL slate coming up, okay? We're going to look at this real quick. So the Jets have this game this week, and at the same time they're doing this, everybody in front of them seems to have a difficult game. A game that you say, oh, well, if this happens and this happens, and listen, that's a lot of this and that, Mike, all right?
Are you
But
talking
for
about in the
example-
division or in the conference?
No, I mean in the conference for a wild card,
Okay.
right? So Cincinnati, who's right now a game ahead of the Jets, has to play at Baltimore.
Tough
Go
game.
Baltimore.
Division game.
Right,
Go Baltimore.
Right.
Go
The
Baltimore.
Colts have to play the Bills. Go Bills. Then you look down a little further, you got the Steelers playing the Commanders. Go Washington. Kansas City and the Broncos. Go Chiefs. So if all these things happen, which it's very likely a lot of them can happen, right? They probably all won't because it doesn't go that way. But I would say of the 5 teams in front of the Jets went from 16th place to 10th place last week. Now, if Cincinnati loses to Baltimore, which I think is likely, if Indy, who the Jets play next week, loses to Buffalo, which I think is likely, all of a sudden the Jets are only a game out in the playoff race. And they're right there with not the toughest schedule in the world left the rest of the way. So, do I have delusions of grandeur anymore of the Jets going to the AFC Championship game? Probably not, right? But what I do see is a path to the playoffs, a path to 9-8.
Possibility.
Right, to 9-8 or 10-7 to get into the playoffs, which would mean they would have to rip off 8 out of 9 or 7 out of 9 to be able to do it. But if you look at their schedule, it's very doable. It's very doable. So, yeah, I'm back in. I'm with hope. This week determines it. If they lose this week, the season's over. Period. That's it. It's over. Season is completely over. They will have their 7th loss. There is no way they're winning 7 games in a row at that point. Especially with Buffalo on the schedule, Miami on the schedule twice. That it's not going to happen.
Well,
So
I'm going to tell you one thing: Miami's ain't shit.
But what do we say about division games?
They're tough. They're the toughest games you can play.
The records don't matter.
Records don't matter.
And Miami and the Jets hate each other. There's a lot of hatred there. So
Yeah.
the record's not going to matter. And Tua's had a lot of success against the Jets, and he's going to come in confidently saying, it's the Jets. The Jets will jet.
The Jets will.
Right?
Will jet.
The Jets
The
will
Mets
jet.
will Met and the Jets will jet.
Right. Now, your team last week
Oh man,
goes
I will
out
tell you.
and whoops the shit. Beats the good dog shit. And you picked against them.
It's working.
You mushy fuck.
It's working.
You're a mushy fuck. You're trying to reverse mush yourself. Yeah. It
Yeah.
worked. It worked,
Yeah,
but
and I can tell you this: Sirianni. No, not you.
oh no, we suck again.
Not you.
What
You.
the hell are you doing?
How do we do
What?
this?
Oh my God, Mike.
How
I
do we
got
get-
you, Mike. I got you,
I
Mike.
got
I got you, Mike. There you go.
your days are numbered, brother. Numbered, brother.
We're
If
talking
you
about
leave,
practice, not a game.
you leave 9 points on the fucking board.
Oh no! We suck again!
9 points on the board.
What the fuck?
Against the Jacksonville team that ain't worth the goddamn. Okay? Trevor Lawrence looks like he should be playing in the CFL. And you're going to go ahead and you're going to keep going fourth down. And you're going to try this fake punt bullshit. You're going to try to get an extra yard so you can push. What are you getting, fucking residuals for push pushes? You're not even the guy who did it. Doug Peterson was the first guy who had Carson Wentz push pushes. Okay? So let me tell you this, brother. You're pissing everybody to fuck off. Okay? That game should have been 35-0. All right? And you fucking left 9 extra points.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs?
Okay? So, with that being said, Eagles right now are the best wild card team ever at 6-2. And would be the 6th seed if the season ended today. But they are 1 game out from a 1 seed.
It's amazing what
It's
one
amazing.
game does.
The NFL.
Right? So let's talk about the Eagles in the presumptive division that we all thought they were going to win and the new kid on the block. Washington, the Commanders, are figuring it out. And, when you're good and you have some luck, they had the Hail Mary. Yes, that was lucky, but that luck came from Jaden Daniels doing Jaden Daniels things. You know what I mean?
Also, It came from a lot of arrogance from.
Don't you love how that works out, though?
Yeah.
I loved it.
Oh God, yeah.
And he's the one that tipped it. That's
Yeah.
the best part, is that
Yeah.
he's the one that tipped it. But
The best jokes write themselves.
But you know what? That NFC East is going to go down to the wire with the Birds and the Commanders.
God,
Dallas is done. Dak is out for next 4 weeks. Stick a fork in them. They're done.
Yeah.
The Giants are straight up trash.
In fact, did you see the trade?
Did I see what?
Did you see the trade that they made at the deadline?
What trade did they make?
They traded Carolina for their 4th-string wide receiver.
Oh, they have no receivers other than CeeDee Lamb. That's why.
They gave up a 4th-round pick for him.
That's a little steep for that, no?
DeAndre Hopkins went to the Chiefs for nothing.
Yeah.
They
And
got
the
a
Jets
4th-round
basically
pick.
got Adams for a 4th that could turn into a conditional 3rd.
That one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Adams is 5,000 times better than that guy.
Yeah.
So is Hopkins, yeah.
Probably going to be one of the better wide receivers when his career's done. And he got traded for a 4th-round pick.
Mike, you got to win 13 games to win this division. Because the Commanders, I looked at their schedule, they're going to win 12. Assuming they split with you guys, they're going to win 12.
Let's see.
It just is what it is. They're going to
We
be
got
up
the
on
Steelers
Dallas.
this week. Go Steelers!
You root for it, but you know what? If they go beat the Steelers, man.
And Steelers.
After that.
What do we got? Steelers, us at home.
Right.
Cowboys.
Garbage.
Oh, God. I hope they become the Cowboys that day.
No, they're garbage.
Titans stink.
Garbage.
Saints stink.
Garbage. Just fired their
Got the
coach.
Eagles again.
Right. So I'm saying, as long as they split with you guys,
Then the Falcons.
the Falcons ain't beating them. At least
And
I
they-
don't think so.
Yeah, this might be going to January 5th.
Yeah.
This is going to go to January 5th, and,
And I know you don't like when I use the words beware because it bit you in the ass during baseball. Beware of the Lions.
Oh, the Lions.
Ooh. They look like the most complete.
Tigers.
It's funny. Kansas City's 8-0 undefeated. And here I am saying the Lions look like the most complete team in the league. Obviously, that's extracting the difference of Patrick Mahomes and Jared Goff, who's been nothing short of great since that trade for Detroit. I mean, you look at that trade, Stafford for Goff. I've never seen a trade work so well for both sides in my life.
Yeah, that was probably the most even trade I've ever seen.
It is legitimately. The Rams got a Super Bowl out of it with Stafford, and Detroit got a culture out of it that they haven't had in 50 years with Goff. So it's worked for both teams, but Detroit, man, they look like the kind of team that can win anywhere in any environment at any time. That's what looks scary about them. They'll beat you in a dome in a fast-paced game. They'll beat you in the snow in a grinded-out defensive running game. They look like that kind of team. There's a couple of teams starting to stand out now, Mike. You know, here we are. We're week 8, week 9, week 10. This neighborhood, this is where you start to really, people start to show themselves, you know?
Yeah.
Kansas City, I looked at their schedule. Mike, they might not lose a game. They might not. And they still might lose in the playoffs because the only thing I've seen from the Chiefs this year is good defense and the best player on the planet. I haven't seen that much of a running game. Their passing game only seems to
Pacheco.
right. Their passing game only shows up when they need a play. And when they need a play, who's there to do it?
Yeah.
Mr. Mahomes, right?
Yeah,
So
and they wouldn't want to run the ball really that much anyway because that's just not Andy Reid's style.
all right, we're going to look at the Chiefs' schedule quick here, okay? This is what we're going to do. So they have the Broncos this week at home. Then probably their toughest game left of the year, the game that can knock them off, at Buffalo. Then they're at Carolina. Then they host the Raiders. Then they host the Chargers. Then they're at Cleveland. Then they host Texans. I don't think the Texans can beat them. Here's their other tough game they could lose, at Pittsburgh. And then they finish off against the Broncos. At worst, they're going to be 14-3. At worst. If things go poorly, they're going to go 14-3. You know, Mike, I got a question for you. Am I overlooking the Chiefs? Are they the best team in football? Is it not Detroit?
I think, honestly, the best all-around team in football is the Detroit Lions.
Let's also factor in the Chiefs are trying to do something that's never been done.
Understood.
They're trying to three-peat.
Right.
In the Super Bowl era. It's never happened.
Never happened, right? Are the Kansas City Chiefs one of the best, all-around teams right now on paper? Yeah.
I think they're the best team in the AFC, and it's not even discussable.
They're definitely the best team in the AFC.
If they don't go to the Super Bowl again, don't at least go. I'll be very surprised at this point.
Well, you just said you think they're going to lose in the playoffs.
I thought they were due for it, but it looks like they're going to get home field advantage.
And it even seems like when they're away, the refs somehow that's the problem.
Oh, stop with the refs! Stop!
I know. No. Because I watched the game this week, and I watched that guy two steps in the backfield.
Bro,
they never anything.
It was with the Patriots too. That's earned when you become the perennial best team.
I don't give a shit.
You have to knock the fat kid off the hill to get that respect. They're getting that respect.
That's not respect.
Yeah,
that's cheating.
It's called benefit of the doubt. That's what it's called.
Listen to me.
Benefit of the
I
doubt.
could have been blind.
You probably still think the Eagles lost the Super Bowl.
I was offsides.
You probably still think the Eagles lost the Super Bowl because of a penalty, don't you?
Which one?
The last one you lost.
They did lose the Super Bowl.
No, they didn't. They
Absolutely.
lost because they weren't the better team.
That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
Your team was not better.
They were the better team.
No, they weren't.
They were the.
What was the final score?
We lost by 3.
The final score was they won, you lost.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
But on a bullshit holding call.
Oh, here we go.
It wasn't holding.
There we go.
There you go. Okay. Don't you actually have to? What is the definition of holding? Don't you have to actually grasp something in your hand? He didn't even have anything in his hand.
Yeah, he grabbed them by the nuts.
He did not. He did not. It was in
He grabbed the
5 yards,
sack.
and he twisted the guy's fucking head.
And he twisted his nuts.
And
Did you see
just
the look on
because
his
his
face?
hand was closed like this,
On his jersey. His hand was closed like this on his jersey.
no, it wasn't.
Now, while this is usually not called,
Right.
as long as your hands are inside, it's
Inside.
usually not called. Technically,
Oh,
it is still holding, which goes back to what I just said about benefit of the doubt.
technically, if my fucking aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle.
Only if the balls actually worked. If they were cosmetic balls, she would not be your uncle. If she glued 2 fucking golf balls between her legs, she would not be your uncle. Okay?
Easy. That guy doesn't get until January. We can't keep talking like that.
But
We got a couple months.
But the AFC, right? So it looks like
the Chiefs
it looks like it's going to be the Kansas City Invitational again.
But I'm telling you that the Lions are probably the best team right now because they are grinding everything. They're earning every win.
You want to hear something funny though, Mike? The Super Bowl this year, I think, is in New Orleans, isn't it?
It is in New Orleans.
Okay. So it's in a dome, which you would think that if the Lions play the Chiefs would benefit the Lions, right? Because the Lions are a dome team,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
I actually think it benefits the Chiefs because the Chiefs are more of a finesse team. I actually think them playing in a dome, if those end up being the 2 teams, and listen, anything could happen. There's a couple. The Chiefs. This is what I mean about the Chiefs. The Chiefs might be the worst 8-0 team I've ever seen, and what I mean by that is they look beatable. They look like, if a couple of these teams they've beaten make a play here or there, they'll lose the game. So
Every week they look beatable.
Can Baltimore beat Kansas City at some point? I think they can. Can Pittsburgh go beat Kansas City? I was going to say no, but for Frank's sake, I'm going to say they can, right? So there's a couple of teams in the AFC that I think can beat Kansas City if they play their A+ game and you get a Mahomes B- game, right? But Mahomes has never played a B- game in the playoffs. That's the one thing I will say about the guy.
So, you're right. You're absolutely right. But what the season is producing is either that they are just playing half-ass football until the playoffs.
They might be.
Because,
You know how these championship teams get? They kind of drag their ass through the regular season, la-di-da to get to the playoffs, and then they turn it on. That's what last year, everybody thought the Chiefs were going to go out because they had to go on the road last year in the playoffs for the first time. And what'd they do?
Right. And
They went into Buffalo and won. They went into Baltimore and won. They said, fuck all you guys. We'll, as long as we get in the playoffs, we're going to win. The
But
biggest advantage,
hold on.
You know what's the
I
biggest?
think this is the closest that last year they were losing games.
But you know what the biggest advantages that the Chiefs have over the rest of the AFC? Every time they go into a playoff game, they know they're going to win. And that confidence is really hard to beat with a quarterback like him.
I agree with that. I think the most dangerous teams are the teams that are not only confident, but are just having fun doing it.
Yeah.
And
he has fun
where
when he
this
plays.
year's Chiefs don't look like that.
Well, no, but he looks like he's having fun.
He's hobbling around. He's got one leg.
He's hurt, but he'll be healthy by the playoffs. You know he
I'm
will.
looking at their schedule. They won 2 games by more than 2 scores out of 8.
They've won 8 games. No one else in the NFL can say that. Think about this, Mike. They've won 8 games and they don't look good yet.
Right.
That's scary.
3 games. 3 games.
Oh, and
just
let's
2.
not forget they just got DeAndre Hopkins now. That's what we really needed to do, was to give Patrick Mahomes that weapon. How stupid are these fucking teams that are competing with them? I got an idea. Let's get the best quarterback on the planet, one of the best receivers in the last decade. Let's throw him on the team. What the?
So listening to an old Gronk interview when he first got with Fox, when he got traded to the Detroit Lions, and he picked up the phone and they said, "Hey, Rob, listen, we traded you to the Lions." He went, "No, you didn't. I'm retired."
No, I'm retiring.
And they're like, "What?" He goes, "I'm retiring." And then he went back and he played with the Patriots.
No, he went to the Buccaneers and played with Brady. He came out of retirement and went to Tampa.
Right. So I think it was one of those situations with Hopkins where he said, "Get me the fuck out of here. I'm not going to play another goddamn down for you. Whatever you can get for
Well,
me."
there's no doubt that's what happened with Devontae Adams.
And the Chiefs said, "I'm holding all the chips. How's the 5th round sound?" And they're like, "Come on, man. All right, we'll do it."
Listen, man, I'm sorry. I don't want to fucking hear it. Trade him to the Eagles or somebody in the NFC. How stupid are you?
Oh yeah, you want to unload a guy
You want
like
to hear
that
stupid?
to the opposite conference.
You want to hear stupid? Here's stupid. The Jets are 3-6, fighting to get into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Pittsburgh is one of the teams ahead of them and has no receivers. And what do? They trade Mike Williams to Pittsburgh. The fuck is wrong with you? Bro, what is wrong with my team?
What did they get for that?
A 5th rounder? I mean, you weren't going to get much more, but why are you trading him to a team that's ahead of you in the standings in the wild card that you're trying to chase? What are you doing? What are you doing? Joe Douglas, what the fuck are you doing, bro? What are you doing? I don't get it.
That is just one of those I have no idea what's going on things.
I mean, I get it. They wanted to unload him, okay? They wanted to unload him because now they had Adams' salary. Williams has not fit that well with Rodgers. Rodgers threw Williams under the bus 2 weeks ago for running the wrong route on the last play of the game that ended up being an interception. So I knew they were going to trade him. I knew he was gone. But in the conference to a team in front of you in the standings, the fuck are you doing, man? So now what if this guy gets a fire lit under his ass, plays really well, and you do play well, and you get to the playoffs, and in the first or second round, you're going to fucking Pittsburgh. I don't understand the logic of the way some of these teams operate, especially my fucking team.
Yours is the anomaly of stupidity.
Oh my God, it's unbelievable. It's so dumb you can't make it up.
Now,
Like, if I told you all this shit before the season started, that would happen this year. Let's go back.
you wouldn't believe it.
Let's go back in time.
If you could talk to
We're now back, and it's now 2023. And the Jets just ended their disastrous season. And we know that they're getting Aaron Rodgers back. And I already know Rob Saleh sucks and all the other things. And, we just traded for Williams. And, they rebuilt the line. I think they can compete for the Super Bowl because on the roster, they look like a top 5 roster in the NFL. Would you have ever thought that everything that's happened in the first 8 weeks to my team would happen?
No.
Firing the head coach.
No, you were talking about 13-3.
13-4.
13-4.
12-5 at worst. I believe that's my quote.
Aaron's going for comeback player of the year.
I believe I said number 1 seed in the AFC. I did say that. I did say that.
You.
Number 1 in my heart, not in the standings, unfortunately.
Yeah, but number 1 in your heart, not in the programs.
Yeah, unfortunately, I always deal with the Jets. I always deal with having to say,
What the fuck?
Oh, no. And then
we suck again.
It's like a never-ending fucking process, So, all right.
But they suck you in, and you're screaming on Sundays.
You can do it. Get that old ass of yours in there. You can do it.
That's right, Aaron. Get that old ass of yours in there and throw some fucking touchdowns, bro. And stop talking on fucking McAfee every Tuesday. You sound like a jerk. All right? I mean, fuck my life, Mike. I mean, really. Fuck my football life. Like, if my football life was compared to some type of a vocation or a job, it would be a whore because it's always getting fucked. It's always getting fucked. A fucking dirty hooah from the fucking streets. I mean, it's fucking terrible, man. But all right. So with that being said, so we got the Eagles-Redskin battle. We had the 49ers banged up and sputtering around, losing games that I can't believe they're losing. The Cardinals in first place. Detroit looking dominant. Green Bay looking good, to say the least. Chicago looking okay. On the AFC side, the Bills are who I hoped they weren't. They're good. Pittsburgh is really good. The Ravens are good. The Bengals are hanging around like a fucking boxer in the 6th inning, just throwing punches, which scares me a little bit. And then you got the Chiefs, who are the cream of the crop. And that's where we are at with the NFL right now. Only one undefeated team, and that would be the Chiefs. And everybody else is kind of behind them. So let's go and look at what we got coming up this week, Mike. And it starts tonight. We start with one of the games I mentioned, the Bengals at the Ravens, and the Ravens are a 6-point home favorite. Joe Burrow is 1-5 in his career against Lamar Jackson. 2-0 against the Ravens without Lamar Jackson. What do you think? I think the Bengals defense sucks. Lamar and
I think
Henry
Lamar treats them like a fucking Kensington.
Now, look, they already played this year, and it was a shootout, 41-38.
I do think Joe Burrow is starting to find, I don't want to say it's fire, but a pace.
Maybe.
He's
I need them to lose.
Yeah.
Lose.
You need them.
I need him to lose. Go Lamar, go Baltimore. Henry, run for 298 yards.
I would love that because the fantasy team is coming from the basement to the penthouse, baby.
All right. So that's that game. Then we got, starting Sunday, this barn burner in Germany. And thank God this game's in Germany, so nobody in stateside has to smell the stink of this game. Because this game stinks. We got the Giants are somehow a 6.5-point favorite against the Panthers, who also stink. But
who also stink.
But the Giants are averaging a league low 15 points per game. That is disgraceful in the modern NFL. How they're a 6.5 point favorite. Listen, if the Giants don't win this game, everybody has to get fired. And then I don't think there's any question about it.
Right.
With that being said, the Giants don't score points. I'll take the Panthers and the points in this game.
I like the Panthers, one, because it severely helps us. Because pretty much you're putting that entire organization's head on the chopping block right now.
Yeah, they're in trouble.
And the more teams that are eliminated, the easier it is to.
The Giants are eliminated, Mike. They're 2-7.
Well, they're not. I'm
Yeah,
talking. We need mathematics. We need certainty here.
They're certainly done.
I need to say it. We got to get to those 9 losses where you can start going. Yeah, they're done.
Yeah, they're done
Get
anyway.
them out of here.
Okay.
So let the Panthers go ahead and run all over them. I like the Panthers too.
Another game that's important to me. Bills at Colts. I actually have to root for the fucking New York Buffalo Bills. The Colts are 4-point dogs at home. Joe Flacco starting. Has looked good. He seems to be their leader right now. Buffalo is a very good team. I really want Indy to win this game. I have to pick Buffalo and give the 4.
And give the 4.
Yeah.
It's going to be a dogfight. That 4. I'm gonna say the Bills are going to win too. I just don't see. It's going to. I think Flacco keeps it close though. He's going to keep it close.
Well, I need the Colts to lose, so fuck Joe Flacco. Yeah. Then we got the Falcons at the Saints. The Saints, who started the first 2 games of the year scoring 90 points, looked like world beaters, have now fired their coach, are gutting everything out, look like shit. Look like the Giants, actually, to be honest with you. They can't score points. They put up 90 points in 2 weeks, and now they can't score. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And
you figured it out.
And Kirk Cousins looks like he's figuring it out the last couple of weeks in Atlanta. The Saints are at home, 3.5 point dog. I have to take the Falcons. I don't think the Saints are any good.
Same. And unfortunately, I'm benching Kirk Cousins this week because I don't trust the defensive or the division matchup.
That's fair.
So I've had him in most
and
of the year.
it's down in New Orleans, so.
And it's in New Orleans. Even though he's proven a couple times this year, it don't matter what the score is, he's slinging the ball.
Yeah, they're not afraid to let him throw at all. Yeah.
Falcons will win that.
Next up, another important game for me a little bit. But this is a very important game for you. The Commanders, a home 3-point favorite over the visiting Pittsburgh Steelers and Russell Wilson, who since Wilson took over, I hate to admit it, look better. This is a tough game. To me, this is a Jaden Daniels prove-it game. Prove that you just haven't been beaten up on dogs. Prove that you really are a contender. And he will. I'm taking the Commanders and giving the 3 points. And I'm going to say the Commanders are going to win this game by 2 scores. 10 points.
Ooh. We're going to disagree for the first time today. We're going to go with the Steelers. 21-17.
Why? What makes you think the Steelers are going to hold Jaden Daniels to 17 points?
A really good defense. Run the ball and play good defense. And that's what the Steelers
So
have.
you want them to run the ball against the best run defense in football?
Yep.
Okay. Good luck with that. Yeah. If the Steelers win this game, it's going to be on Russell Wilson. He has to win the game.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Listen, I'm not saying you're not going to run at all. Najee Harris is a good back. They're not going to consistently be able to run over Washington. Washington's a good. Their front seven is legit. They got a good front seven. So,
front seven.
That is game of the week, if you ask me. That's a great game, by the way. That's game of the week right there.
I will be. Well, no, I won't. Yeah, I will. We got a 4:00 game this week.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll be watching.
The Vikings, who lost 2 in a row, go to your old coach who just got a foot stuck clear up his ass to play Jacksonville, and the Trevor Lawrence, most overrated pick ever, by the way. Trevor Lawrence led Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars are a home 7-point dog against Sam Darnold and the Vikings.
Sorry, Dougie. Vikings are going to come in there and they're going to fucking beat the balls off of them.
Wow. So you have no faith in Peterson coaching his guys up to keep this game close,
You can't. There's nothing to coach up.
But Trevor Lawrence, he's the best thing since sliced bread.
But yeah, he was.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I thought he was going to be the next guy. He's not. I was wrong. Move on.
I called it last week. I'm going to call it again this week. The Vikings aren't as good as everybody thinks they are. I think the Vikings are going to win the game, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than this spread indicates. So I'm going to take the Jaguars with the points on this one. Expecting the Vikings to win by 3 to 4, 5 points, something like that. A last possession type of game, one way or the other. I'm going to think that Dougie Fresh is going to keep it close, and that Sam Darnold is going to slowly turn back into Sam Darnold again. I don't understand how teams at this point just don't double bracket Jefferson on every fucking play, because Sam Darnold's been making a living off of Justin Jefferson. So, but that would be my strategy. But what do I know? I'm just some schmuck amateur coach,
Yeah, doing a podcast.
Right, doing a podcast with our 7 listeners, yes. Next, we got the vaunted Denver Broncos, who have the tiebreaker on the Jets right now, motherfucker. Going to Kansas City for Patty Mahomes to stick his foot nice and tight, wrap it up, right up that it, right up it. Kansas City's is at home giving 7.5. But Kansas City's not great at covering. Kansas City will win.
I'm taking that 7.5.
You're gonna take the 7.5, huh?
Taking that 7.5.
Yeah. I'm gonna say that Sean Payton can go suck a dick, and all their players can go fuck themselves, and they're gonna lose by 3 scores. This is the week that Kansas City comes out and blows somebody out. This is it. At home against the Broncos, Pat Mahomes goes nuts. DeAndre Hopkins has 2 touchdowns. That's what I'm saying. Say less. Word is born up in this joint. That's right.
What?
You heard me. All right.
Reboot. What?
Now we got a very interesting game, and I'll tell you why it's interesting. Is San Francisco ever going to break out his funk they're in? I mean, all right, they won last week, but Tampa is so up and down. They're like the little girl with the curl. One week they look like, oh, yeah, Baker Mayfield, yeah, they're a playoff team. And then the next week they go and lose to a shit team, and it's like you don't know what to expect from Tampa Bay, right? So Tampa Bay is at home, and they're a 6-point dog to Brock Purdy and the 49ers coming into Florida. It's a tough one.
Tampa Bay. 2 scores.
Wow. You're still doing that Kensington Ave meth, huh? You're still on that.
Yep.
San Francisco blows them out.
I've seen Tampa Bay play in their stadium.
Yeah.
They don't fuck around.
Yeah, your team sucks, though. That's the difference, yeah.
What?
Your team sucks. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Did they blow you guys
reverse
out?
your record, and you're still not even.
Wait. Did they blow you guys out, Tampa? They blew you out, didn't they?
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah. 3 games in a row.
Yeah.
Didn't you lose to the Patriots?
Yeah. What?
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 Boston. Fuck Boston.
Yeah. So, all right. So I'm going to take the Niners in that game again. We'll go head to head on that one. I'll take the Niners. This is the type of game that makes you just want to gouge your eyes out of your head if you're forced to watch it, right? The New England Patriots.
Fuck Boston.
We'll go into Chicago for an old-time battle against the Chicago Bears and their vaulted defense, coupled with the rookie Caleb Williams, who has played better of late, looking like Chicago Stars of the past. In this game, the Bears
Played
are
better
a
as
6-point
of late.
favorite.
They
Bears.
lost last week 29-9.
And the Bears are a home favorite by 6. The over-under is low as shit in this game. It's
I'll
38
take
and
the
a half.
6.
You going to take the 6 with the shitty Patriots?
Yeah, why not? They beat yous.
Fuck you. Yeah. I'm going to say that the Patriots beating the Jets is an aberration. And they're going to go to Chicago. They're going to get some freaking pan pizza wrapped around their ass. I'm going to take Chicago and give the 6.
You gotta pay extra for that sometimes, Cotton.
Someday, listen, what you do over by you stays over by you, okay? All right, next we got another barn burner, but an important game standing-wise for the Jets, because I really like to get the Chargers the hell out of my way. And you got the Tennessee Titans, who kind of stink, on the road, 7-point dogs in L.A. for the Chargers.
I you know what? I've really been like all over the Chargers' ass all year too.
And they've been letting you down.
Not
They're
all.
not terrible. They're 4-3. They're not terrible.
5-3.
Are they 5-3?
They're 5-3.
They're better than I thought. I need the Chargers to lose. Let's go Titans.
I'm going to pick the Titans with the 7. Well, you said 7, right?
Yes, sir.
I'll take that 7. Still think the Chargers win the game.
I'm going to take the 7-2 and hope that Tennessee finds a way to win that game. Next is a party. The kind of party Mike likes. The party where his team goes into Jerry's world against a Prescott-less team that has a 90-year-old running back and a redhead quarterback in Cooper Rush. No Dak. No real running game.
Mm-hmm.
Defense on the outs. The Eagles are a 7-point road favorite in Dallas.
One of my favorite baseball movies of all time. Bull Durham. You don't fuck with the streak. We got 2 very young corners. I think we have one of the better safeties in the league with CJ GJ. All they have is CeeDee Lamb. Cowboys win.
You don't believe that for a second. You are the most lyingest picker ever.
Me?
You don't believe that.
Me?
You're trying to purposely mush. Screw your mush.
Don't fuck with the streak.
The Eagles go into Dallas and win 35-7.
Wow. Now
I'll
they're
take-
only gonna win
I'll take the
baseball.
Eagles all day and twice on Sunday. Jerry gets ready to fire everybody after this week. The Eagles are going to come in and kick the shit out of them. I think that game, Mike, I'm not saying this just to like mush you.
No.
That game's over in the first quarter. I'll be shocked.
I'm going to tell you why it's not going to be.
17-0.
I'm going to tell you why it's not going to be.
Go ahead.
Fucking coaching.
Oh, come on. You're going against Mike McCarthy.
I don't care.
He's
4th and
not a
5.
lot better than
He's
Sirianni.
going to call deep fucking play. It's 3rd and 26. We're going to try to give it to fucking Barkley.
35-6. Eagles win.
I don't see it. Because
You're
the
such a
fucking coach
fucking-
is a fucking jerk off.
And
That's
so
why.
is theirs.
He's
So
a-
is theirs.
Yeah, but he's got nothing to lose except his job.
Just his job.
Just his job. Unemployment's there. They ask right there, are you a professional athlete or work for a professional sports team? Yes. Click it. It doesn't disqualify you.
Next game. Oh, boy. We're going to do some music for this one.
I got it. So your ticker is different than mine. So
The New York Jets and Aaron Rodgers.
You can do it! Get that old ass of yours in.
Aaron Rodgers will visit the Arizona Cardinals in the Sun Devil Valley. With the Jets, I guess experts agree with me and just think the Jets are better than they've been playing because the Jets are a 1.5 road favorite in Arizona against the first place Cardinals. So, Kyler Murray likes to run around a lot.
Yeah.
Hassan Reddick likes to beat the shit out of people that run around a lot.
Against his old team, too.
And it's against his old team, and he started looking like Hassan Reddick a little bit last week in the second half.
He hasn't played since last year.
They were all over C.J. Stroud in the second half. The Jets' pass rush is what really surprised me in the second half last week. Like, they really got after it. And I'm expecting more of the same. I'm expecting Devontae Adams to become a bigger factor. I'm expecting the New York Jets to win this game 28-17. So I am taking the Jets, giving the 1.5, zipping my lip, sitting back, and saying,
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You can't.
but I'm going to talk about it. I'll take the Jets. And I say that seriously. I just think they're going to get better now.
All right. I think the Cardinals are going to win. I think the defense, they have a pretty solid defense. 24-13.
What the fuck?
I'm
You,
sorry,
my friend, are an asshole.
Listen, I hope the best for you.
You took Houston last week, too. How'd that work for you? How you like that? How you like that?
Mush. You should want me to keep going against you.
We got the mushing effect on both sides of the cities here.
Yeah, I'll take it. Hey, listen, it's your job. You have to take that bullet, man. I hate people that don't do it.
All right,
no,
so,
I know what I'm talking about. Do you?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah. I know what I'm talking about. I've been watching these guys since I was 10 years old. Okay, cool. You're a mush. Bet the other way. Fucking own it.
All right. Now let's get to the next game, which is Sunday night. The Texans coming off, I guess, what they have to view as a terrible loss to the 2-6 Jets.
Would not look good to the voters if this was college.
And they did not look good in the second half at all.
Yeah.
We'll be hosting the suddenly big, bad Detroit Lions. The spread is Detroit, 3.5 on the road.
Taking Detroit. They win 33-28.
I'm taking Detroit too, and I don't think it's even going to be that close.
No.
I think Detroit might run them out the building.
I think that the last couple of points would be garbage points. They're
It
winning
could
like
be. It
33.
could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
They're
could
winning
be.
like 33-14 going into the fourth quarter.
And then we have another barn burner, the final game of the week on Monday night. The mighty, mighty Miami Dolphins in Tua Tagliova will take the trip to Los Angeles to play the Rams. How's that possible? Weren't the Rams earlier? No, they weren't. I'm just senile, old, and smoke way too much pot. Okay,
Probably.
so the Dolphins will be a 1-point dog, which is basically a pick 'em against Matt Stafford and the Rams.
I'm going to go with the Rams just because you have a ticking time bomb at quarterback that if a gust of wind blows in there the wrong way, he's going to be eating crayons.
I'm going to take the Dolphins, and you know why? Because God hates me.
That was the exact thing I was going to say. I was going to say, because God don't like you, huh?
Because God hates me, and the Dolphins are going to win this game just to keep it annoying for them to hang around and have something to play for by the time the Jets play them. And just to hang in and have the same record as the Jets.
Hey, listen, I've given up on Miami. I traded Tyreek Hill, even in my fantasy league.
I wouldn't have done
and it
that
keep-
with Tagliova back. That I
and
wouldn't have done.
with the
Yeah.
it's a dynasty league too, so you're keeping the same roster for 4 years.
Wow. Yeah.
I unloaded that guy. I was like, fuck him.
Wow. Well, I'm obviously hoping that I'm mushing and that it's wrong, but I have
Now you
realized
want to
that,
get on the train.
that Bill Belichick and God both hate the Jets. So, I digress. And I'm
The
gonna have
owner
to
hates
take my
the Jets. That's the only person that hates the Jets. And Philadelphians, because you guys stole our colors.
No.
Yeah.
No, not
Yeah.
true.
Uh-huh.
Not true. Not true. By the way, I usually don't like alternate uniforms, right? I'm not a big fan because I'm a traditionalist. That last game against Houston, which was on Halloween, the Jets for the first time wore their all blacks, black helmets.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you,
You
that
like
shit was fat.
it? Fat, bringing that back, huh?
That shit was fat with a pH, a heavy pH
fat,
on it.
huh?
Yeah, pH fat.
Not like my car fat. But
No, not my car fat. Cool fat. Yeah. No, they looked really good, man. I mean, that was it was good, and like even the field looked great. The end zones in black with the green Jets. The Jets logo in the middle of the field was black also with the right. It was actually the first time I looked at like the Jets field and was like, wow, it actually looks good. That's actually good. I like that. And since
Speaking
they
of
won,
looking good,
I always look good.
do you happen to see Saquon reverse hurdle a guy?
Okay. You want to do it? Let's do it. Let's talk about this for 5 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, this needs to be acknowledged. Because
okay. So
there were
first of
so
all,
many good plays on this game.
that is not only one of the most incredible plays I've seen a running back do to get 3
I
yards.
already know what you're going to say after that.
Right? Right. If there was a really good player on the field behind him, he should have broke his back. It was a stupid
It
move.
was a stupid move.
It was one of the stupidest. You don't turn your back on the defense. You don't. That's one of the first things we teach. Don't turn your fucking back. Keep everything in front of you. Now, he got away with it, and it looked phenomenal. And I think my favorite part of the play is the Eagles sideline reaction. Did you see that video?
Yeah.
When it happened, all you saw was a bunch of grown-ass men go,
Yeah.
that's what you saw. You saw, for people listening on the podcast, I'm making faces like someone that's out of control right now. All you saw was a bunch of guys going like this.
They couldn't believe it. Nobody could believe it.
Because it was an incredible play because he
It was
got
right
away
out of a
with it.
video game.
However, Saquon's done things like that before when he's with the Giants. And you know what's happened? He's gotten hurt.
Yeah.
You better cut that shit out because your whole season is riding on him. He is your offense. I
There you
cannot
go.
believe. I
Oh.
honestly can't believe it. He is the Eagle
He's
offense.
a big part of the offense.
Dude, he's the most dangerous back in the league right now outside of Derrick Henry. He really is. You know, you have to game plan for him. You have to game plan for him both in the running and the passing game because he's dangerous like that. And you know what? As I can say this as a Jet fan because I'm not a Giant fan. I'm actually happy for Barkley because Barkley, when he was in New York, was a workhorse who had nothing put around him, and his hard work went for complete naught. And all he ever got was blame for something that wasn't his fault, which was the fact that he was drafted number 2 overall when the Giants should have taken a quarterback. And everybody knew it, right? Their mistake is not his problem. I'm happy that he went to Philly with good pieces around him to show how effective he actually is on a team that has other fucking football players on it. Because the dude looks great as an Eagle. He does. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something right now, Mike. And we're getting ready to close the show soon. And you know I'm not an Eagle fan. And I think your fan base is a bunch of douche faces and the whole 9 yards that we talk about all the time, right?
We accept it.
But I will say this. If the Eagles get to the promised land, if the Eagles go against Kansas City, they are the only team I feel has a chance from the NFC, not even the Lions. And I'm going to tell you why. Because Saquon Barkley is that guy that can change the whole tempo of the game and keep Mahomes off the field. That's why.
Which is another reason why we lost the Super Bowl. You scored too early, late in the game.
You couldn't keep him off the field.
You give Mahomes close to a minute.
You got to keep him off the field. And you know that, well, I don't know because your coach is an idiot.
He's a jerk off.
Right, but if your coach gets a moment of clarity, a come to Jesus moment in the Super Bowl against Kansas City, if it goes that way, if he has half a fucking brain, he's going to say, you know what? We're going to possess the ball 40 minutes today. And it's going to be on Saquon. Saquon, this is the last game of the year. You're getting 30 carries and 12 receptions today. You're going to touch the ball 35, 40 fucking times today. Take us home. That's what I would do. The way to beat Pat Mahomes is to not let him play.
Not let him play.
Don't let him play.
Keep him off the field as much as possible.
Keep him up there, wondering.
There's been 6 teams that did it this year and still lost.
Yeah, but you know what? You know about those 6 teams? None of them had Saquon Barkley.
None of them had Saquon. None of them had A.J. Brown.
Oh, no, fuck A.J. Brown.
Smith.
That's not, no. Against Kansas City, A.J. Brown ain't going to be your big deal. It's not going to be your factor. Yeah, he'll have his
He
catches.
absolutely would be.
He'll have his catches, but what's going to change the game for you if it happens, and you got a lot to go through. You got to get through Washington. You got to get through Detroit. You got some serious competition in the NFC. There's no guarantee the Eagles are going to get to the promised land.
No, this is the most competitive conference.
But if they do, you got to ride Barkley against that team just to not let him have the ball. And Barkley has to have a big game. He can't do something stupid like jump up in the air and turn his back so somebody sticks their helmet in the small of it and he's out for the game.
It was so cool.
It was, but it was stupid, Mike.
So cool.
Mike, it was awesome. And as a coach, I cringed.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I went,
yeah. What the fuck are you doing? Anytime.
What are you doing?
Brent Selleck used to do it all the time. The tight end we had years ago, if you don't know who he is.
Not Tom Selleck? Not
Tom Selleck, Brent Selleck.
Okay.
Every time he would see a corner, he'd jump. Every time he'd hurdle the guy. And it worked 9 times out of 10.
Until it didn't. And he got walloped. And he kept that big ass on the ground. And that was a big thing with Brent Selleck that I hated. Brent Selleck would run, and you could see it. The shoulders would start shimmying. He's slowing down, and he's waiting for that guy to break down because he's 100 pounds heavier than him. I honestly think your team could survive a Jalen Hurts injury right now more than it could survive a Barkley injury.
Whoa. Well, yeah. Because Gainwell's getting exposed as a not so great number 2 guy.
Well, you let your good number 2 guy go. Yeah. Well, I don't know why you did. I don't know why you guys didn't re-sign him.
He wanted to be the starter. He wanted starter money.
Yeah, I know, but he didn't get starter money. He ended up being a backup. He's only starting because the rookie got hurt.
He hit the free agent market. We got him enough.
You paid too much money for Barkley. You couldn't keep your backup quarterback.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
That's the truth. That was your sacrifice for Barkley, was the higher pay that would have went to a better backup for the quarterback. So now instead you got this guy that if something, God forbid, does happen to Hurts, boy, Barkley better have his fucking hiking shoes on that day. Because
Barkley could throw the ball. I've seen it.
Oh, no. You don't want that. No.
Wildcat the whole game.
No, yeah, you don't. No, you don't want that. Well, before we go, Mike, I want to leave you with this as the Rangers look good. That time of year. So, yeah, you hear it. My dog just hit the toe. I just want to leave you with the Rangers folks. I know you love it. I know you love that. I know you do. Well, listen.
Last minute for today, I just saw Philadelphia Union have fired their coach.
Yeah, nobody cares.
The game.
So
the name of the game.
Oh my God.
What the fuck?
Sorry,
that's right.
Last minute.
Well, all right. So it's been a good show, Mike.
Yes.
The Battle for I-95 podcast. You hear what I'm dealing with here right now, right?
Yeah. Keep your
Shut up!
We don't need Pete up our ass.
Oh my God!
He might be one of the only listeners.
The Battlefield I-95 podcast has been brought to you by Easy Moving. Moving sucks. It's ass. It's no fun. You might as well do it the easy way. Servicing Fairfield, removal in New York. I am the Turk. That is Mike. Let's go Jets. Let's go Knicks. Fuck the birds. No. Have a nice day.
I will.
Fuck the birds.